Perfect. Hello and welcome to our first event, the first round of the Shader Showdown 2019. First round will be LJ versus Evil, both veterans of the Shader Showdown, if I remember correctly. And we have Mac on the decks. We have Chaos and Ferris commenting the code quality. And yeah, let's get started. Enjoy.
Hello, hello. Hey. I guess the mic works.
And this mic also works. Okay, welcome to the Shader Showdown 2019. And as we see here, LJ just erased everything and starts from scratch. On the other side, we see the same. Interesting.
Actually yeah, he did erase most of it, didn't he? I thought he was messing with this plasma function, but I guess he just used the signature and that's all that he kept.
Yeah.
I'm guessing LJ is going to go for a Ray Marcher, but I guess we'll actually see. Some RD, some RO, MD's map MP, whatever this stuff means. Looks like a Ray Marcher to me.
As usual, at the beginning there's very little to say because everyone is setting up their basic framework, so maybe we should start explaining how the brackets will work this year, how the tournament is structured, because it's a little bit more complicated than last time. These are, at the moment, the main part of the Shader Showdown will be the round of 8. But we have 2 slots left in the round of 8 to fill with 2 pre-qualification matches. These pre-qualification matches are done down here in the seminar area. But the round of 8 will, of course, be on the main stage this evening.
Check. Mine works.
This one also works. So there are 2 more matches down here in the seminar area to qualify for the 2020 Shader Showdown. And the final for this mini tournament will be done between the semi-finals and the finals of the main tournament, also on the main stage.
So LJ has a cube.
Wow, that's better than a sphere, I suppose.
Colored by depth. Yeah, so I guess RO we saw earlier was Ray Origin, RD Ray Direction. Stuff like that. Here comes some hashy looking things. Adding some noise. Evil not really showing much. Also definitely a Ray Marcher. So expect some 3D things. Looks like he's still setting up his raise or something. Maybe this is projection, I'm not really sure. Because this TR thing is clearly a Ray Marcher. Not really sure. LJ's got some 2D noise on the screen. Maybe he's testing that, or maybe he's going to incorporate it in the distance field after. Hard to tell. Looks like he's mixing random, so he's probably putting together some kind of filtered noise, which he may turn into FBM. This is one of the least fun things to memorize. But at least you can kind of figure out how it should work once you've got the hashing function, which he calls rand here. The rest is just some 3D bilinear filtering, basically. Or trilinear, I guess, because it's 3D. Evil's got some gradient, probably coloring from the, getting color from the ray direction as like background. And a sphere. Yeah, there's the filtered noise for LJ. And I'm guessing he's going to accumulate a few of those to get some kind of FBM. Evo working on some lighting. Looks like Evo's got two different scenes here. How long are the rounds again? 20 minutes? Was it?
Each round is 25 minutes.
25 minutes, right. So we're...
17 minutes, 30 seconds left.
Yeah. Evil's now got a couple boxes. LJ's still working on some noisy stuff. It looked like he actually did feedback with the noise function, so he would take noise and then the result of that noise and feed it back into the noise again a couple times. Really good way to get these really cloud-like patterns.
Are they cloud-like or cloud? I mean, is there a real 3D structure to it, or does it just pretend to be 3D?
So far, it looks pretty cloud-like. Clearly marching through this, it looks like. Adding some twist. This R2D, I guess, is a two-dimensional rotate. Or a two-dimensional rotate. Sort of thing. Probably gonna add a sphere. He's thinking about it. Evo adding more geometry to his boxy things. Always hard to tell where this stuff will go when you're only 10 minutes in. a ladder-like thing. Some spatial repetitions.
It really looks Evil has some shape in mind
Yeah,
and just has to work through all the codes this shape takes
definitely.
to realize.
Definitely. I like also that it looks like Evil has a couple different materials he's working with. It seems
It looks more like different colors and different materials.
Yeah, I'm thinking that what he's doing here is returning a two-component vector, where the first one's probably the distance to the surface, and the second one would be material index.
Yeah.
And he probably maps that to colors in the main loop. LJ is like working on some 2D shapes. I'm always a fan of that. Triforce looking thing. So now I'm actually thinking what the marcher is doing here is it's marching through the field. And if it ends up like hitting some kind of surface or accumulating, it seems to be like accumulating color, or perhaps the opposite of that. And when it fully saturates, then he exits the loop.
So he goes volumetrically through the noise function.
Right, and I think that's how you get the sort of glowiness around the two-dimensional shapes here. That you would probably accumulate more based on the distance to the object, to the surface.
What Evil is doing looks really tedious. Building worlds one box at a time.
Now you have some motion in Evil's shader.
This looks a lot more organic on LG's side.
Definitely does.
Pretty much at the halftime of the tournament. But Evil might just be building up some structure to then go crazy with it.
I'm guessing that's exactly what he's doing. He's probably making some base mesh and doing some interesting variation in motion in there so that by the time he applies some spatial repetitions at the end, it will become something very, very complex.
That might be his plan. Can he do it or can't? We will see in 11 minutes.
Not a bad plan either, especially considering his recent intros, which I think are built up in a very similar way. LJ added some colors, looking even more organic now. Evil adding various rotations. A bit out of... Oh, it's twisting, that's what it is. So already starting with some of the spatial deformations.
Well, already at the 10-minute mark, that's...
Yeah, good point.
maybe this is just a little bit too tedious to type and do.
Quite a lot of details in this code here. Hopefully not something that he memorized.
Well, he's not writing it from top to bottom.
Yeah.
That would be a bad sign.
LJ adding more primitives to the mix.
Yeah.
Some grid on the top. I wouldn't be surprised if he reflected that on the bottom as well.
Is this 80s? Or is it's late 80s, isn't it?
Definitely late 80s. It's ladies. So now Evil's going really hard on the spatial repetitions here. And as we predicted, the bass mesh suddenly becomes something much more complex, with both some repetition, domain repetition, and some scaling. Pretty standard Ray marching fodder, but can always look really good. Now Eva's also adjusting the geometry after applying this stuff to add more variation. And I always like when you get things sticking out of things. You get sort of the contrast between materials and form, which always looks really nice together. I think it's also, if you go that approach and do kind of a base mesh that then you deform, it always looks better if you have a few different materials in the base mesh. Sort of adds another dimension to the whole thing, rather than the same thing being the entire material, or the entire thing being the same material, rather.
Although this is material-wise a little bit boring.
Yeah, could use some more, maybe interesting colors and lighting.
Or even shading.
Luckily, I think that should be easy for him to tweak now that he's got all this stuff set up.
But I won't bitch too much because on this side, using the term material would be doing too much credit. This is just colors.
Yeah.
But pretty much all of them, so...
No shame in that. We all remember Chaos Theory. Do everything grayscale, color, and post. One of the things that I think we might be lacking so far is anything reacting to the music.
I am not necessarily a big fan of that anyway. Because it takes your control away.
Yeah, and it gets really noisy really quickly, and unless you've sort of built your shader to look really good with that, it might do more harm than good.
If there were better tools to sync, it would be a different story.
Yeah. Now I've got some camera movement from Evil as well.
Yeah.
Moving in and out of the shape periodically. Very Demoscene sinus movements.
Ellipses are all you need.
Now I've got some particle-like things. I like the glow. I actually think Evil's thing would look almost twice as good with some camera roll, which there he just added, so that's perfect.
Camera roll is... You don't do that unless you have a good reason. There's no good reason.
LJ now reacting to the music.
So you do have influence?
Some nice 4 on the floor motion. I'm guessing this is analytic, and he's just synced up the timing. Hard to say.
Well, this is forward complement is something you can do. Yes.
Oh no, it is actually from the texture. Very cool.
That's the one thing that really works.
Yeah, it works really well here.
Unless the DJ changes.
Yeah. I think the DJ here has been fairly consistent with levels at least. nice if you're starting to add sync, especially with 5 minutes left. So 5 minutes and 20 seconds left. We've now got a black screen for LJ and a complex object for Evil. Some more rotation and some more reactive stuff. I like both approaches. You can see a lot of contrast in LJ, who's sort of layering simple forms on top of each other underneath a renderer that gives it this transparent look and then some color correction. Whereas Evil is, I think, trying to generate more complex objects and then using more traditional lighting and shading and making it look good that way with variations in the material.
I personally like the unfuzzy rendering, the clear rendering. Also with demos, I don't like there's so much post-processing that you can't see this. Not that too much post-processing has ever been an issue with shader showdowns because you just can't do it. But with regular demos. So the solidness, this, or whatever, really attracts me.
I definitely like both.
Yeah, this is also very good. I think AJ hasn't yet figured out. Is it supposed to look this dark? I can't tell.
I like that he's changing the camera angle here.
You will go on LJ.
3 minutes and 20 seconds left.
This surely gets bent pretty badly, although not bad in that way of speaking.
Yeah, adding some sinus distortion to the ray direction, looks like. Looks a lot more similar to Evil's now. So this, with Evil's screen, we can see what happens with the unfiltered FFT.
Yeah.
But this will surely be cleaned up with some tweaking.
It's only 2 minutes 30 seconds left, so there's plenty of time to clean up everything because we will just take your keyboards in 2 minutes 30 seconds. Actually, we should have a kill switch for them.
LJ is looking like he's adding more geometry. Not a bad move at this point, at least to experiment with that.
I'm not. Maybe it looks so dark because it's not on the dimmed level. So it'll look fine when we see it in full glory on LJ's side. And I have to remember that this one will get a lot brighter too and oversaturate, certainly. The seconds are ticking away. One minute, 30 seconds left.
I'm totally not looking up tone mapping operators on my phone. I think Evil's effect is really coming together here. We've got a lot more layers in the geometry and really has that kind of massive feel to it. With a little bit of music sync, it's not overdone.
I think I see a new kind of space repetition. Was there something hexagonal, or did I just miss it all the time?
At least those squares in there seem to have gotten a bit cooler as they form.
But only 30 seconds left. Twenty seconds left. Time to show the full effect. 10.
And that's time.
Done.
Two very, very good shaders.
Absolutely.
Whoa, what a start. Give them a big hand. LJ and Evil. So, for the voting process, can we please see LJ's shader? And Evil, please. Give it up for Evil. So, I can't judge this. So we have Havoc, aka the judge. We try again. Give it up for LJ. And Evil, please. Give it up for Evil. LJ. And Evil. So, the judge says, the winner of the first round of the 2019 Shader Showdown is Evil!
Stage. And as we are taking our competitors as they arrive to this wonderful revision, we are now having the match Punk against Nobi. And the clock will start very soon. And it will start now.
And
we
we're off.
should have music also. Sorry.
Right away, Nobi comments out everything.
That's a safe thing to do. You don't want to lose the tunnel at all. On the other side, a more dramatic change has happened with just deleting the tunnel. I think so. Can't see the lower part of the screen. Anyway.
You can see Ray Marcher on Punk's side with a backwards index condition. No, that's going backwards. From count to 0.
It's faster this way.
Yeah.
That's how the pros do it.
Must be what it is.
But I never do that. Maybe that's why my code sucks. Okay. On the other side.
Function March. I think we know what Nobi's working on.
Oh, it could be a distraction.
Yeah, it could be a diversion.
Yeah, much more interesting than the marching function is of course the mapping function, because that's where the stuff is. But everyone has just to take some minutes to write a complete engine from scratch. And some people call this memorization, but come on. You have to type in a complete engine from scratch in 25 minutes.
It's pretty nuts. Already we have a sphere on Punk's side.
Where's the sphere? The mapping function. There's the sphere. Thank you.
Yes.
I thought I was missing something. Okay.
Still nothing visual on Nobi's side, but a marcher coming together.
Yeah, Punk really didn't get the Raving Tomatoes color scheme right.
Punk making things easier for himself, defining some constants.
Yes, and I really always love it if people use tau, because fuck p. Because you never need p, except very few exceptions. You always need 2p, and so you can use tau. It's really, really, really important for me, personally.
Today I learned what tau was.
It's the right p. It's the full circle, not the half circle.
Good to know.
Yeah, and while there's really nothing important happening in the code, I'm missing something in empty mapping function. That's not really important. There is, of course, a reason most people use p and not tau, because if you want to measure the diameter of like a rod and want to know the thing, how much paper you need to wrap it around, you need p. Because all the people who do building stuff, they always measure the diameter. Because it's easy to measure the diameter of a rod. But if you want to if you're a mathematician, you always use the radius, and then you need tau for the full circle. And this, I'm pretty sure nobody really wanted to know this.
Tau about that.
Still, now go back to what we are supposed to do.
Nobody's got some domain
shaders.
repetition.
And there's really nothing hidden behind this label. Okay.
Now he's gonna move the camera, it looks like.
And the mapping is just a sphere field, which is the second simplest thing you can do, with the sphere being the simplest thing.
Global variables in GLSL, style points.
Yeah, and here's a promise movement. But this might be nothing compared to what we will see on the other side.
The balls are touching.
Maybe I was overhyping that a bit. But we have still more than 20 minutes left, and we've just started, and we are already seeing 3D graphics with shading and everything on a shader showdown. Punk is overexcited here, I think. Yes.
Nobody's laughing in Finnish. And needs help.
Well, maybe he's
Punk with some domain repetition, presumably.
And he's typing as fast as Nobi, maybe from fairness.
Nice of Punk to not
maybe
type
we'll add
anything.
some a minute or so to the clock. Maybe the referee will give us a hint on that. But we are back on the insane typing action here. And again, the mapping function is always the one which is most interesting, because that's where all the action is going to happen. And this is a rotation, or what is this? Yes, it is.
Yeah, definitely a rotation matrix.
And it's it's always a little bit too tight for this rotation stuff.
I always end up just writing out the entire product for the matrix and the vector. I should really get into the better habit of actually making the matrix.
Like the optimized form for the whole 3D rotation matrix. Oh fuck.
I don't even think it's the optimized form. I think it's the naive form, just written out with a component-wise multiplication, rather than taking advantage of the built-in vector matrix multiply.
Yeah.
I think I'm just thinking old school.
Yeah, that you can do a little bit more with some Xenos, what's it called in English? I don't know. Trigonometric identities, but that's overdoing it.
Moving things a bit, rotating things a bit.
Ah, now I see the rotation. Very nice. On the other side, touching balls in a tunnel. Okay.
I think Punk has added a tunnel on the outside of this and then colored things with iteration count.
I'm not sure where the tunnel comes from. Ah,
It's just a guess, can't really see.
maybe the disc here is doing it.
I think he's building the disc now. I don't think that's there yet. I'm not really sure where that comes from.
And we can't see because there are some errors to fix. But that's normal.
I think he's forgetting a closing brace. So
Don't tape them! Don't tape them!
the single curly boy has no friend.
Boom! The tension is...
Okay, now we have a disc. Definitely colored by iteration
But
glow.
this is actually a disc in 3D.
Or the reverse of iteration glow.
On the other side...
Nobi doing some 2D mirroring. Oh no, this is actually 3D.
It's just missing rotating axis. Because it's so much to type.
Punk looks like he repeated the domain that he samples the disc in.
Yeah, it's really hard to sync a movement like this, pulsating balls with the music. That's just not going to happen.
Now modulating the position of the discs. If you do it too much, you get those fun artifacts. So he's turning it down a bit.
Okay.
I feel like this effect will go well with this psytrance music.
Also, the thickness-inducing offsetting here fits the party motto of Flight. This is pretty nice.
It almost looks like ambient occlusion,
It always does.
but it's much easier than... It looks like screen space ambient occlusion.
Okay. On Nobi's side, I think we are in some intermediate stage that looks like nothing, but that's going to change very soon. I hope for him.
I have a feeling this is going to get really finished really fast,
Yeah.
and we're going to like what we see.
And we are on the 15 minutes mark, so lots of time. Lots of time. Oh, bendy.
Another thing that I think is going to go really well with psytrance.
Yeah.
I like when you get these periodic movements that are kind of glitchy. I think that works really well in these kind of competitions.
Ah. We need more balls.
Punk is doing some domain repetitions before the spheres. Pleasant shapes.
Okay.
Now nobody's modulating the position of the different things, I guess. Getting a nice organic looking movement, almost. I suspect he'll lean into that quite heavily. Punk adding some more geometry.
Yeah, I can imagine this animated looking really twisty. Maybe not that much.
I like that with the discontinuities.
Yeah.
Of course, comes with artifacts, but I still think it looks pretty cool.
Chunky.
I think it looks better than it would have without them.
I wonder. We don't have any shading here except for the fog, for the iteration fog, do we?
Yeah. Iteration fog, I think, is the right term for that. As the opposite of iteration glow.
But no normals or shit.
I think that can look okay. I think he can pull it off without any shading. But we'll see what he does.
It's amazing how good it looks without shading.
Yeah, it really is.
Maybe I should try less hard.
A very effective technique with very limited time. Things are getting more gray on Nobi's side.
Yeah, but Nobi's actually working on the shading. At least he was.
Ah, right,
before he
yes.
moved, because he wrote the normal function, which
Yes.
gets you the surface normal for the shading.
Calculating the gradient of the distance field.
Yeah. But he scrolled away from that just before I could show. Anyway. Oh.
Now we have colors. So I guess this is just
Well,
mixing
half
a
of
couple
them.
colors.
Well, let's call it intermediate result. And hope for the best.
I like this approach in this compo though. Make something in black and white. Get it to look good as is. Do colors in post. Same thing we saw LJ do earlier.
And yeah, this is not as colorful as the other one. So give him some time.
Just over 11 minutes left.
Oh yes, I'm forgetting the time. 11 minutes. But that's plenty of time actually.
Bonk is rotating the camera now.
Which is completely unnecessary. But anyway, in Nobi's time, it's looking. Maybe we see something soon. Yes. Yeah. Not much of a difference. But 10 minutes, 30 seconds left.
I'm not sure what Nobi's doing, but I suspect if he's gonna march and calculate the normal in a loop, this might be some kind of radial blur or something. Get a thumbs up about that.
Yeah, blurring is a problem with Bonzomatic.
Something strange happened.
Which is not uncommon.
I'm guessing this will be a blur of the radial variety. I wonder if he's going to change time based on the iterations. So maybe it's some sort of motion blur then.
Yeah.
Ponk is experimenting with some different colors.
Yeah, definitely getting somewhere. I'm not puke invoking.
Definitely looking better than the previous colors.
Definitely. But I hope, yeah, they were temporary.
I must admit, I think I liked the black rather than the white,
Yes.
if nothing
Me
else.
too. On the background.
Yeah.
But we are not art critics. We are here for serious code analytics, which was very successful, hopefully.
Ah, very cool. Now we can see the motion blur that Nobi has. which adds quite a lot with this kind of motion, I think.
Well, I'm not so sure this works correct,
Yeah,
but it does something.
I think there's some waiting here that needs to happen. Which we will see here.
I'm sure this is not what is intended, but it looks good.
Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah.
Very nice touch. I actually don't think I've seen motion blur in one of these before.
Yeah, because it's so fucking expensive.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen radial blurs, which is the same thing. This I like.
But this is for Novi 7 minutes and 30 seconds left to put in some color maybe. Although, judging Pong's thing, he wouldn't have to work too hard on finding a better color scheme. Maybe it's not good to exchange the orange with red.
Seems to be focusing on the geometry still. He's got plenty of time, I think.
Yeah, 7 minutes left. Also, I would like it on Pong's side if the camera wouldn't move too much through the geometry.
I really like the motion blur on this. I think that was a good choice. And I think Nobi's in a good spot here because now it's all about either making more interesting motion or adding more interesting geometry. A solid base, maybe some color.
It would have been a solid base 5 minutes earlier. But now we are 6 minutes left.
Yeah, good point. It's a bit late.
And there's a lot to do on this side.
Yeah.
And on the other side, I think there's also a lot to do.
Yeah, much more developed idea, I would say here.
Yes, yes. Definitely arrived somewhere. Okay. We are back to the fuck it up with
An
distortion.
interpretation of the original shader. Very cool.
This begins to look nice.
I think that was the right place to apply that rotation. Before the spatial repetitions and things.
Okay. 5 minutes left. 5 minutes left.
I wonder if we'll start seeing music sync soon.
I hope not. I don't think that the balls are adding anything to this.
Yeah, neither shader really needs that kind of additional movement, perhaps. But maybe it could be really interesting. Nobody's got some kind of pumping motion. Or perhaps not.
This looks more like an interaction of various movements than something that has to do with music sync. Four minutes. Also on Punk's side, it's distortion for the rescue.
Adding some glitch from the FFT on Punk's side.
Oh yes.
I think that's actually a really good application of the FFT because it's going to be quite noisy anyway, and that's kind of what you want for this kind of screen distortion.
Yeah.
But of course, you'll get a lot more concentration of the distortion near the low end of the
That's why he's
music.
scrolling it through. He adds the time, so.
Ah, that's interesting.
Interesting is an interesting word to use.
Applying it radially. Nobi looks like he's moving back and forth now. A bit more motion. Or perhaps it's just an illusion. But definitely a lot of tweaks happening here.
But still no color. And only 2 minutes and 35 seconds left.
I would not be surprised if there were never color in the shader.
It's a sure way to lose.
Maybe it adds something, maybe it doesn't.
Well, again, the color scheme to compete against isn't that optimal anyway. And 2 minutes left. 2 minutes left.
At this point, it's probably mostly just polish.
Yeah. I think we get colors on Nobi's side.
Now we have some color on Nobi's side.
And putting them next to each other, we see wonderful contrast.
And 1 minute left.
1 minute left. Yeah, color is better.
More distortions on Punk's side.
And the shape of the tunnel has significantly altered. At least visually, not code-wise. Okay, the last 30 seconds. Even less.
Nobi adding some more.
20 seconds, sorry.
Ooh, I like the pink. Yeah, color helped a lot. For
And
Nobi shader.
10 seconds. Get ready to press F11.
They're both just done.
And they're both just done, yes. And the
right.
clock is now on 0.
Okay, so we have the time for voting right now. First up for the voting is Mr. Punk. Okay, and then let's move on to Mr. Nobi. I'm sorry, once again you didn't make it clear enough. Let's do this again. So, first up, Mr. Punk. And then Mr. Nobi. That's very close, but in this case we'll have to congratulate Mr. Nobi for advancing to the next round. Just for your information, next match will be a tight deadline for the guys who are competing. One is in a taxi right now coming from the train station, so please give us a few minutes and then we'll prepare for the fourth match.